How much does it cost to have a swimming pool installed? There are so many variables involved in a question like that, but I want to provide, kind of a meaningful answer for you here. So I'm going to break it down into a couple of categories here in terms of, what kind of budget should you have if you're going to the retail market and looking to have a swimming pool installed. We'll start with above ground pool kits. If you wanted an above ground pool kit finished and installed, I mean, they can get pretty expensive for sure, but if you had $5,000 to spend, you're going to have options under that $5,000 mark. Probably a whole bunch of different options, actually, depending on the kind of above ground pool you get. Because again, there's a real spectrum here in terms of like really temporary, almost one time use pools, all the way up to something that's actually pretty respectable. It just happens to be above ground. But again, like kind of $5,000 is your a good entry point there. If you're looking for kind of top end of the above ground market, for sure 10,000 you can spend no problem at all. More than that, on ground pools, and you might not even know what that is. And above ground pools are the ones that are fully above grade. In ground pools fully below grade. On ground pools are the ones that are half buried in the ground. And you might have seen this, old school above ground swimming pools that people just dug into the ground and buried. They all failed early. They're not made to do that. There are pools which are made to do that. Those are called on ground swimming pools. And if you were to get an on ground swimming pool kit, which is, it's kind of like the quality of an in ground pool, but minimal landscaping, minimal dig. It's usually like a wood deck around it or something like that. So it's a pretty budget friendly swimming pool. And if you had 10 to 15,000 dollars, you could probably get one of those installed. And it would be a pretty good option for a lot of people because they can look pretty good. And there's certainly a lot less money than the in-ground pools, which we'll talk about now. Vinyl liner swimming pools, kind of like your budget in-ground swimming pool option. Also very popular in cold climate areas. Before the pandemic happened, the pricing was different and it was kind of stabilized for a long time. Growing slowly with inflation, but nothing crazy. When the pandemic happened, the swimming pool industry exploded because if you're gonna be locked at home and you can't do anything, boy, wouldn't a swimming pool be nice? And prices went mad and double in some cases. So it's a little hard to pinpoint pricing. And again, geographically, where are you? Because this has a huge impact on what you will pay for a swimming pool. This is just general information to kind of give you an idea where you're at here. Vinyl liner swimming pool, you're probably looking at $35,000 as an entry level vinyl pool kit up to $100,000. That's kind of like a spectrum range there. And again, where's the limitation of this job? Is it including heaters? Is it including deck, additional landscaping, all that kind of stuff would change these numbers. I'm kind of just focusing on the swimming pool kit itself, maybe about 3 feet of concrete wrapped around it. That's more or less it. And you're thinking like, oh wow, for 100 grand, I didn't get anything more than that, just an in-ground basic vinyl liner pool. Yeah, but like a variable speed pump, you got a pool heater, it's a pretty big plus and, a good chunk of money and, stuff like that. So yeah, it adds up pretty quickly when you're talking about pools. You can easily have a 200 or $300,000 vinyl liner backyard swimming pool package if you start talking about landscaping and things like that. You can do that easily. Vinyl liners pools, they look a lot better these days than they used to, and you can't even always tell immediately that's a vinyl liner pool. So if you have a budget to work with, this is actually a pretty good option. There's a bunch of good looking vinyl liner pools out there. I have a vinyl liner pool. I like vinyl liner pools. But moving on in terms of cost, let's talk about fiberglass pools because they're probably a little bit higher than vinyl liner pool for the cost of the install, depending on where you're located. Probably a little bit less than a concrete pool install, depending on where you're located. And you're going to be talking, maybe something in the 50,000 up to 80,000 range. It's kind of maybe a spectrum for a fiberglass pool installation package. Moving on to the concrete pools, again, we're talking more money. 60,000 as your minimum for even a small concrete pool. And even to that post pandemic, you might struggle to get that. And if you're like, oh, in my area, I can get one for 40,000, it's like, great, you probably should. That sounds like a great deal. In my area, it would be nowhere near that price, and it would be many years of a waiting list to get one. Um, how much does the top end go for a concrete pool? If it starts at 60,000, like I mean, you're up to $150,000 real easy. You want like nice glass tiles on there, like when you start adding options to a concrete swimming pool, you start adding them $10,000 at a time. In floor cleaner, $10,000. Auto cover, $10,000. Like it adds up super, super quick. The equipment room. with automation and VS pumps and fancy digital heaters and peripheral stuff like salt and AOP and all this other thing, 30, 40,000 in equipment, no problem. And that's not including your electrical costs for installation. So yeah, it adds up awful quick on any pool, but a concrete pool is the Cadillac of pools. And you definitely pay for it. They're super expensive, but they're awesome as well. So I guess you take the good with the bad. Swimming pools are a massive luxury, like one of the biggest luxuries that you can get, short of buying a yacht. I would think that perhaps a swimming pool might be the biggest luxury that most people ever purchase. But you buy them because it's more than just something that you can swim in and get healthy and burn out the kids' energies. I grew up with a swimming pool and it really does make memories. Like pretty much all of the positive memories that I have are in and around this swimming pool that I grew up with. And especially now because kids are in their phones, parents are in their phones, like you hardly ever connect with your family anymore. And inside of a swimming pool, it's awfully hard to be on your phone. So it's perfect. And it's a great opportunity for you to reconnect as a family, keep your kids closer to home as they're growing up by making your house a place they want to be. Yes, swimming pools are expensive. They're massively expensive, but what a luxury to have them. If you like this video, please be sure to like it and subscribe, and you can check out my website, swimmingpoolsteve.com.